Good day to all the attendees of today's session. Today we will be talking about stocks. During the course of the entire presentation, if there are any questions or suggestions, please do not hesitate in asking. We would also appreciate your comments. Now, stocks are the fundamentals of a kitchen. A continental kitchen uses stock in place of water for making soups, sauces, and gravies. Meat is extensively used in the continental cuisine, and hence bones are abundantly available for making stocks. So let us begin the presentation today. The title is Stocks. The objectives of today's session are, there are four major objectives. The first one is you will be able to understand stocks and their types. Secondly, you will be able to realize after this session that stocks are the foundation liquids for most continental dishes. You will be able to know that a lot of effort needs to be put in order to create a perfect dish. To bring about the flavor of a dish, we have to do a lot of things, and stocks play a very vital role in bringing about perfection in a dish. And last but not the least, you will be able to see that all the ingredients that are brought into the kitchen are put into good use. You see, trimmings of vegetables, bones, then the stems of herbs. Now, these are things which are not of much use in the food itself. So these are used for flavoring the liquid which is used for cooking the food. Moving on. The definition of a stock. Now this is something that you need to commit to your memory. It has been underlined, it is bold and underlined, which means that it is very important. The definition of the stock is a highly flavorful and nutritious liquid, an extract of bones in water, used as a foundation liquid for most continental dishes. So stock is very nutritious, very flavorful. There is no mention of taste. So there is no taste in stock. Stock is tasteless. There is no salt. There are no spices per se. There are no taste-making ingredients in the stock. It is only flavorful and nutritious. It is an extract of bones in water. So we cook the bones in water for a very long time, and the protein from the bones gets dissolved in the water in which it is cooking. This protein is known as gelatin. So it is an extract of bones in water, and a stock is the foundation liquid for most continental dishes. Stock. Stock is a nutritious and flavorful liquid made by simmering bones with aromatic vegetables, mirepoix, herbs, bouquegani, and spices, sachet d'épices. There are three flavoring agents used in making stocks. Mirepoix. Mirepoix is aromatic vegetables. Herbs are bouquegani, and spices are sachet d'épices. Now, When we talk about Mirpua, there are 6 vegetables which are used in Mirpua: carrots, onions, garlic, turnip, leeks, and celery. Carrots, onion, garlic, turnip, leeks, and celery. These 6 vegetables are roughly cut and mixed with the bones, and their purpose in a stock is just to provide flavor to the stock. Combined all together, these 6 vegetables are known as Mirpoa. Herbs. Various herbs such as parsley, thyme, oregano, marjoram, so many different types of herbs. They are 1 or 2 sprigs of these herbs are brought together and tied together with a string. Now this bouquet of herbs is called as bouquet garni. And sachet d'épices is a bundle, is a packet or a bundle of spices. Sachet d'épices, packet of spices. Sweet spices such as black pepper, corn, nutmeg, cinnamon, cloves, black peppercorn. These are brought together in a packet or in a piece of muslin cloth. They are placed and they are tied together. And this sachet, this packet is then immersed in the simmering stock. So the nutrition comes from bones and the flavor comes from Mirpua, bouquet garni and sachet d'épices. Stocks are used as a base for soups and sauces. In French, stocks are called fond de cuisine. In French, they are called fond de cuisine, which means foundation liquid of the kitchen. As explained earlier, bouquet garni is a bunch of herbs. Herbs such as parsley, thyme, bay leaf, oregano, marjoram, and so many others. And as you see in the picture, this is how these herbs are tied together with a string, and then they are put in the stock. The reason of tying them together in a string is that bouquet garni is not supposed to be cooked for a long time. So after 10 or 15 minutes, after it has released all its flavor to the stock, it is carefully removed from the stock and thrown away. Bouquet garni, bunch of herbs. Mirepoix, aromatic vegetables, aromatic root vegetables. Mirepoix is vegetables used for flavoring stocks. It consists of onion, celery, carrot, leeks, turnip, and garlic. Mirepoix is used for flavoring the stocks. Sachet d'épices or bundle of spices are bay leaves, cloves, cinnamon, and black pepper corn tied together in a bundle of cheesecloth as shown in the top picture. Sachet d'épices is used for flavoring stocks. Why is it tied together in a bundle? Why is it tied together in a sachet, in a packet, or made into a bundle? Is because, like bouquet garni, sachet d'épices also does not have to be cooked for long. It is cooked for maybe 10 or 15 minutes, and after that it is carefully removed and thrown away. Quite like the tea bag, which is dipped into hot water and shaken for a while, then removed and discarded. The most essential ingredient of stock making is bones. Bones provide nutrition to the stock. Bones may be of chicken, beef, veal, or fish. In the picture here, you can see bones of beef. They should be cut into small pieces. The bones should be free of marrow. It should be free of all connective tissues. Bones should be free of any meat or cartilage, and it should be clean. An interesting thing about bones is that the bones of the end part of the animal, such as the tail or the hooves, now these bones are extremely rich in gelatin, and these bones have very little use in cooking. So if you can lay your hands on the end parts of the animal, then please use the bones for making stocks. Like I said, bones are treated differently for the 4 different types of stocks. For white stocks, these bones are blanched and then stock is made. For brown stock, these bones are roasted with a little fat in a very slow oven for a very long time till they are dark brown in color, and then they are put in water and stock is made for brown stock. For fume, these bones are sautéed, tossed in oil in a frying pan with mirepoix for fume. And for coup bouillon, no bones are used. Coup bouillon is made only with the help of vegetables. And coup bouillon is slightly acidic in nature. Stocks are of many types, many types, but primarily they are of 4 types: white, brown, fume, and coup bouillon. The picture on the left shows a white stock, picture on the right shows a brown stock, and there are fume and coup bouillon. These are the 4 major types of stocks that are made in all hotel kitchens. We will explain in detail about these stocks in the next slide. The 4 types of stocks are white stock, brown stock, fume, and coup bouillon. There are many types of stocks, but these are the 4 main types of stocks. Now the difference in the 4 stocks is in the way we deal with the bones before we start making the stock. In the case of white stock, it is made by first blanching the bones and then simmering them in water with the aromatics. Brown stock is made by first roasting the bones and then simmering them with the aromatics. Fume is made by first sautéing the bones with mirepoix and then simmering it with the sachet d'épices. In coup bouillon, no bones are used. Coup bouillon is a slightly acidic vegetable stock used as a cooking liqueur for fish. So what happens when we blanch bones? I hope you know what is blanching. The blanching is a process in which we dip the bones in boiling water for 1 or 2 minutes, quickly remove them from the boiling water, and then immediately immerse them in ice cold water. Now this cleans up the bones and it ensures that the color of the stock prepared from these bones is white. So white stock is made by first blanching the bones. Brown stock is made by roasting the bones. The bones are brushed with oil and then they are roasted in a very slow oven. Bones are poor conductors of heat, and so we cannot apply high heat. They are cooked, they are roasted in a very slow oven overnight for 6 to 8 hours so that they become nice and dark brown and crisp. And then when these brown bones are put in water and simmered with mirepoix, bouquet and sachet d'épices, then they produce brown stock. In the case of fume, fume is a very flavorful stock. Why? How does the flavor come? It comes from first sautéing the bones with mirepoix. When we sauté or toss the mirepoix and the bones together in a little bit of oil in a fry pan, then what happens is all the flavor from the mirepoix and from the bones comes out, and this flavor is transferred to the stock. The English name for fume is essence. Coup bouillon, of course, is a vegetable stock, but it is used for cooking of fish because the flavor of the fish would clash if we used bones of the animal in the stock. So coup bouillon is made without bones. It is slightly acidic and it is made with the help of mirepoix, bouquet and sachet d'épices. Hygiene with stocks. As explained earlier, stocks are highly perishable in nature. Stocks are highly nutritious in nature, and since they are so high in protein, so they become very perishable. They are risky foods. Stocks are risky foods. Why so? Because they are very high in proteins. The other foods which are very high in protein, such as milk, such as eggs, such as fish, all these kind of foods are very susceptible to spoilage. They are very high in protein and in 1 or 2 hours they will spoil. Similarly, stock will spoil in a very short amount of time. So in order to keep the stock safe, in order to keep the stock safe for a prolonged period, it is very important to keep it out of the danger zone. Danger zone is the temperature range between 7 degrees centigrade and 63 degrees centigrade. If we keep the food, if we keep the stock outside of this temperature range of 7 degrees centigrade and 63 degrees centigrade, then the stock is safe. Which means to say that the stock should either be kept in a simmering state where it is simmering slightly, where the temperature of the stock is about 95 and above, but not boiling, because boiling will make the stock cloudy. Or the stock should be below 7 degrees centigrade. Now, when we keep the stock below 7 degrees centigrade, it is important to understand that stock should be put in wide and narrow trays in a place where there is a lot of air, perhaps possibly in a blast chiller, and it should be cooled quickly, and then it should be kept in the refrigerator. It is a high risk food. Stocks should be chilled quickly and then they should be stored. The other thing about stocks which I need to mention from my book Simply Cooking Theory and Principles is the duration of cooking. Now, all bones are different in nature. As a thumb rule, I would say that fish bones should be cooked for not more than 20 minutes in the stock. Chicken bones should not be cooked for more than 2 hours, for about 2 hours in water, and beef bones should be cooked for about 6 hours to make a strong and flavorful stock. Veal bones may be cooked for about 4 hours. The bones of lamb and of pork are not used because they tend to disflavor the stock. It must be remembered, I am sorry at the risk of repeating myself, that stocks are dangerous foods and they should be kept outside of the danger zone, either cold and chilled in the refrigerator or simmering in the pot. In hotels, stocks are kept simmering throughout the time during which the food is cooked, so that they do not spoil and create any discomfort for the kitchen. Other than the four major types of stocks mentioned earlier, white stock, brown stock, fume, and coup bouillon, the other types of stocks which are commonly made in the kitchen are fonds de vegetal. Fonds de vegetal or fond de légumes vegetable stock. It is also known as neutral stock or fond maigre, Fondmaigre, neutral stock or fond maigre, and it is simmered for 30 to 40 minutes. Fond de champignon, mushroom stock. Fond de champignon or mushroom stock is made from roughly chopped mushrooms simmered for 30 minutes with mirepoix, bouquegani and sachet d'épices. Then we have deglaze. Deglaze is adding stock into the frying pan or roasting tray and heating, stirred with a wooden spoon to remove the caramelized residue after roasting meats and vegetables. This liquid is then used over the food for moistening it or as a sauce after thickening it. So deglaze is we remove the glaze or shine from the pan or from the cooking meat and we dissolve it in water, and then we remove the water and we use it as a stock. This stock can be thickened and used as a means of providing moisture to the dish. Jus. The juice of roasting or grilling meats or the liquid obtained from deglazing is used to moisten the foods it is obtained from. So jus is the juice of the foods which are cooking, roasting, grilling, or roasting or grilling, and then the juice is collected and then spooned over the food at the time of service. So, and a jus may be a deglaze. A deglaze may be jus or jus may be deglaze. Then broth or bouillon. A broth or bouillon is when any meat, poultry, game, or fish stock is simmered with other foods. The result is a highly flavored broth. The difference between broth and bouillon is that a broth generally contains a lot of things floating in it, a lot of vegetables and stuff floating in it. Whereas a bouillon, the name bouillon comes from the word to boil. So a bouillon is called bouillon because it is mainly made of meats and it is cooked for a very stewed for a very long time. So that is the difference between a broth and a bouillon. So broth and bouillons also produce very good stocks. Then consomme. Consomme is clarified or clear stock known as consomme. Clarification takes place by adding egg whites, vinegar and mincemeat to the simmering stock or broth. So first we make the stock and then to the stock we clarify it. How do we clarify it? By adding egg white, vinegar and mincemeat and beating it rapidly. When it gets all mixed up well, then we leave it. We leave it and after a while we see that all the egg white and all the meat, mincemeat that we added, it has attracted all the impurities from the stock and the resultant stock becomes crystal clear. You can see the bottom of the pot. It becomes crystal clear. Consomme. Next type of stock is aspic or glaze, known as glace in French. Glace, glace. Aspic or glaze. When a consomme is reduced to 50% by slow simmering, there is an increase in its gelatin content and flavor. Aspic is ready when a small portion of this clear stock is refrigerated and it sets like a jelly. Aspic or glaze is used to add to sauces, soups, etc. to increase their nutritive value and to give them a shine. Cold foods such as pate, poached eggs, cold fruits, etc. Cold cuts, etc. So aspic or glaze is clarified consomme which is reduced to 50%, which means it has a very, very high gelatin content. If you take a small spoon of the aspic and you put it in the refrigerator, then it will set like a jelly. That is the way we identify that the aspic or glaze is ready. And last but not the least is remouillage. What is remouillage? Remouillage is remaining. The English meaning of remouillage is remaining or leftover. Remouillage. A second stock preparation prepared using the same spent ingredients of the first stock is known as remouillage. This results in a weak stock. The remouillage is a weak stock, however, more flavorful than water. It can be used to cook products which require a mild flavor. Remouillage. So these are the different other stocks other than the four major types of stocks. Now we move on to steps of stock making. What are the various steps of stock making? Beginning with cold liquid makes it possible for bones to release their proteins in the liquid. If hot liquid is used, the pores on the bones may seal and not release proteins and flavors freely. First point, gentle heat. These are the steps of stock making. Gentle heat. A high quality stock is clear of minute suspended particles. These particles are so small that they cannot be strained. Stock clarifies because of the protein albumin soluble only in cold water found in muscles, bones, blood, leeks, and egg whites. Albumin helps in removal of cloudiness from the liquid. Proteins coagulate upon slow heat. They rise to the top and attract particles in the liquid. This mass may then be skimmed away, thus clarifying the stock. However, if boiled, the particles shake away and bring cloudiness to the stock. So a stock should never be boiled. It should be cooked on a very gentle heat, especially so with the case of consomme or glaze or aspic, because they need to be crystal clear, absolutely. Next is skimming. The broth, the froth and fat formed on top of the simmering stock should be skimmed with a ladle or perforated spoon periodically, particularly in the beginning. Once clear, it should be left to be cooked undisturbed. The golden rule of stock making is that please keep on removing the froth from the top, because the froth is the dirt which is coming out, and then if it is allowed to remain in the stock, it will make your stock cloudy or unclear. Skimming. Then the third step of stock making, third point to know about stock making is simmering. The temperature of the liquid should be between 90 to 95 degrees centigrade. You see, when we are heating liquids, there are different degrees to which liquids are heated. The first degree is simmering. The second higher degree is poaching. And the third highest degree is boiling. So simmering is when the water is slightly moving, the surface of the water is slightly moving. Then we say that the water is simmering. Poaching is when the water is beginning to roll. Just beginning to roll, not rolling, just beginning to roll, a little higher than simmering. And boiling is when the water is rolling rapidly on top of each other, that is boiling. So the stock should be simmering at all the time. And the fourth and the last important point about stock making is straining. After the stock is ready, it should be strained carefully and again put on a simmer in a cleaned stock pot or stored chilled. Like I explained earlier, it should either remain cooking, simmering, or it should be chilled. It should be cooled quickly and then chilled. There are some points to remember while making stocks. While making stocks, remember to simmer, not boil. Boiling makes the stock cloudy. Skim the simmering stock often. Cool immediately and store covered. Never season the stock. Stock is never seasoned. It is tasteless. Use bones of beef, veal, poultry, game or fish only. Lamb and pork are not used. Herbs and spices should be removed after 10 to 15 minutes of simmering. I have put the points together for you to understand them better. In the end, a recap of the session. Now you are able to define stocks, explain the various types of stocks, differentiate between various stocks, explain the food ingredients required for making stock, make different types of stocks, and enumerate the precautions to be observed while making stocks. With that, we come to an end to today's session. Please note relevant points carefully and commit them to your memory. If there are any questions that you might want to ask, you may ask them by email, WhatsApp, or YouTube, Facebook, any way that you want. But please consider this topic to be very important, especially for all the first year students. And before I leave, I would like to say that please be safe, please take all precautions, be helpful around the house, make the best of this opportunity that God has offered to us to develop ourselves during these times. May God bless you all. Thank you very much. Bye bye.